Today I'm going to describe the differences between ELTIS and SLEP. You may be interested in this question because you work at a high school that receives international exchange students. ELTIS is the test that replaced SLEP as the test that international exchange students coming into the US through a CSIET take as part of their application process. Both ELTIS and SLEP have two parts, listening and reading, and we'll look at each of them in turn. Both the ELTIS and SLEP listening tests have 4 parts. The first part in each test is supported by a picture, while the other 3 parts are based on listening to audio and answering written questions. In the ELTIS, the picture is of a classroom action scene, and the language is the teacher's directions to a class. In the SLEP, students look at a picture and they hear descriptive sentences. In ELTIS, the aim is for students to understand the directions, and in the SLEP, the focus of the items is on comprehending prepositional phrases. In the second part, the ELTIS has math oral word problems and their solutions, whereas in the SLEP, students match an oral sentence with its written version. In the third part, the ELTIS has a conversation where the students answer questions about key ideas and details, whereas on the SLEP, the students listen to very short conversations and answer one question about each short conversation. In the last part, the ELTIS has a longer monologue with questions focusing on key ideas and details. The SLEP also has extended speech, a conversation, with questions focusing on key ideas also, but the conversation is broken up into sections with one question per section. In summary, the ELTIS focuses on longer stretches of meaning. It focuses on school-based language and the comprehension of main ideas and details. The SLEP focused on general English, especially vocabulary and grammar. The ELTIS reading test consists of 3 parts. The first one is general academic vocabulary in sentence context. The second is reading a graph, and the third is comprehending academic texts. The SLEP reading has 4 parts. The first one is related to a picture, where students match single sentences to thought bubbles in a single picture cartoon. The second part is matching printed sentences with one of 4 drawings. Then the SLEP had a passage task where the sentences in the passage had gaps, and students completed them with words and phrases. And finally, the student read texts and answered questions about them. So the main difference between the 2 tests is that ELTIS is focused on school-based reading and school-based vocabulary, and it is not picture supported, but it does involve reading graphs and information on graphs. In summary, the ELTIS has a rigorous focus on school-based communication. All the tasks are set in the school context. SLEP had a more generic focus. The questions on the ELTIS focus on meaning, main ideas, details, and implied meanings. SLEP was more focused on grammar and vocabulary. ELTIS and SLEP take about equally long to administer. Given that ELTIS is focused on meaning and longer stretches of school-based communication, there are fewer questions and therefore fewer raw score points on the ELTIS. However, each of those raw score points is heavy with meaning that is relevant to the decision that is being made on the basis of the scores. This is what validity means according to the standards of educational measurement. The meaning of ELTIS scores is valid to the decisions being made about the students. The reliability of the ELTIS total score is 0.9, which is appropriately high for making selection decisions, according to the standards of educational and psychological measurement. Therefore, the ELTIS provides a reliable guide for decision-making, and the score meaning is valid for decisions about exchange students.